Implementation of doubly linked list, creating a node. So first let us understand the variables or the terms that we are using in this program. First, structure node. So that means we are using user defined data type. So we are using user defined data type to create a node. Here the basic definition of doubly linked list, it has three fields: information, next and previous. So the moment we are declaring a variable of type structure node, it means that we are creating a memory where it has three fields: one is information, next and previous. And there are two other variables, first and last, which are very important, that would point the first node and last node. Then create is the method that we are using. The moment we call create method, so there are few steps that happens. First, let us see what is happening when the moment you call the create method. See, the moment you call create method, a temporary variable is allocated with a block of memory, so which is dynamically allocated. So I hope you all know how malloc works. Malloc, the moment you call the malloc method, what happens? This function creates a big block of memory of what type? Structure node type. Of what size? One structure node size. So one structure node, what is the size of the structure node? It has three fields. One is information, that is int, and next and previous. So this block will be created. After that, after creating this block, I mean like this node, we are taking the input from the user temp of info. So temp of info, temporary of info, let us consider we are giving 5 as the input. After that, temporary of next is equal to null. Temporary of next is equal to null. Next, temporary of previous. Temporary of previous, see, temporary previous is null. So temporary previous is null. So the moment you call the method create a node, so create, what happens? Our structure, by using the structure, what is happening here? A new node is created with three fields: information, next and previous. Let us see inserting at the beginning and inserting at the end. So let us understand the terms or the variables, how they get updated. Then we can see the functions and programming part. Initially, there are two variables. So what are the two variables? First and last. And these two variables have the data null. It means that it is a empty linked list. So that could be singly linked list or doubly linked list. It's a empty doubly linked list, okay, for understanding purpose. Now, what we have to do, the moment you call the create method, a new node is created with information and next field. And it is very well understand, when the first value and the last value is null, it means that there is no node there and it's an empty doubly linked list. Now, let us name this as temporary. And we have variable first and the last, and default the values are null. And consider I have given the information 5. The moment I create, next and previous values are null already. Now what will happen is, the first variable should point to the node that we have created. Consider the address is 1000. So first will be replaced from null to 100, which is pointing out to the node that we have created. And since there is only one node, last also will be 1000. Done. And we have no previous element, no next elements. So both the previous and next elements are null. If at all you are inserting at the end, when you are inserting at the end, we will be creating a new node with the same variable temporary, and I am inserting the value, consider 6, and the address of this block, consider it is 2000. Since I have done inserting at the end, this is inserting at the end, the last value will be replaced with the address 2000. That means this connection will go off, new connection is created, and inserting at the end. So the next pointer should be pointing to the next new node created here, and this temporary should be pointing to the previous node that we have created 1000. The indication of the last node will be the next field has to be null. Similarly, if at all you want to insert at the beginning, when you want to insert at the beginning, what happens? So a new node will be created with information next and previous fields. Over here, consider I am inserting an element 7. Now the address of this block, consider it is 3000. So the 1000 will be replaced with 3000. So a new connection is established over here. Here the next pointer will be pointing to the 1000 address field. This will be pointing to 3000. Since this is the first node, the previous field will have the value null. So this is how an inserting at the beginning and end will happen. Let us see the programming part. One hint I will give you. Whenever you want to implement singly linked list or doubly linked list, first draw the diagrams. During the practice, the best way to understand the concept of singly linked list or doubly linked list is you go for the diagram. The moment you draw the diagram and play with the variables, you will understand what you have supposed to do and what logic you have to develop. Then your life will be much easier. Now, in the moment I call insert at beginning function. So as I mentioned, at the initial stage, what will be there? We have two variables, first and last. First value is null, last value is null. It means the doubly linked list is empty. Look at the code. If first is equal to null, so first is equal to null, it means what? It is an empty list. We are creating the first node. The moment you call the create method, so already create method is there. I have explained here what happens. The moment you call the create method, what happens? A new node is created with three fields: information, next, and previous. Consider information is 5, next is null, previous is null, and the name of this is temporary. So this is what happens the moment you call the create method. Now what we are saying here, first is equal to temporary. So here already null value is there. We are replacing with the temporary. Consider the address is 1000 here. What is the temporary value here? 1000. So first we are replacing with 1000. That means a new connection is created here. Next, last is equal to first. This null will be replaced with the 1000, which is nothing but the first value. Now what we are doing? We are creating a connection. So this is a clear doubly linked list with one node. Now we are calling the function for the second time. So here we have called the function insert begin. Now we are calling the same function insert begin for the second time. Now what will happen? We'll see. Already we are having one node. Already it is clear that we are having one node. Now when we are inserting at the beginning, so it means that a new node has to be created here, and the first has to point out this node, and first has to point out to the node that is already there, and this has to point to back to this node. So let us see whether this happens or not. Now let me take the same already node is available now, and there are two variables. First, that has the address 1000 where it is pointing out to this, and there is a variable last that holds the value 1000, and the address of the node that is available is 1000. So now what happens? Again I have called the insert at begin method, so function. So when you call that function, what happens? First it checks the condition first is equal to null. Is first is equal to null? No, first is equal to 1000. So this condition failed. It comes to the else part. The moment it comes to the else part, first it executes the create method. So the moment it calls the create function, what happens? A new node is created. In the new node, we know that it has information, next and previous. Consider there I have given the data 6 and null and temporary is the value, and let us consider the address location is 2000. Now what we are doing, temporary of next is equal to, so temporary of next is equal to first. So temporary of next is null. We are replacing this with first. What is the first value? 1000. That means a new connection is created to the first. Next, what we are doing? First of previous is equal to 1000. What is the first value? 1000. 1000 previous value is null. This is the 1000 previous null. We are replacing it with a temporary. What is the temporary value? 2000. So we are replacing this value with 2000. That means we are creating a new connection back. And first is equal to temporary. First already 1000 is there. We are replacing it with temporary. What is the temporary value? 2000. This connection is gone. A new connection is created. That means a doubly linked list is created with two nodes. Let us see how to do insert at the end. Let us see what happens at insert at end. So initial variables, consider like this is an empty doubly linked list. You know the conditions for the empty doubly linked list. We have two variables, first and last. So both have the values null. This indicates the empty doubly linked list. Now let us see, the moment you call insert end function. So the moment you call insert end function, first it checks with the condition first is equal to null. First is equal to null, condition successful. The moment condition is successful, it executes the create function. The moment you call the create function, what happens? It creates a node with three fields: information, next and previous. Consider the value user has given is 10 and next and previous value will be new, null and temporary. The address of this block, consider it is 5000. Now what we are doing, next step is first is equal to temporary. What is the first value? Already null. So we are replacing this value with temporary value. What is the temporary value? 5000. Now 5000 will be updated over there. It means it is connecting to here. Next, last is equal to first. What is the last value? Null. What is the first value? 5000. So null will be replaced with 5000 where we are creating a connection. If you observe, a doubly linked list with three nodes with one, sorry, a doubly linked list with three fields and one node is created successfully. Now I am calling insert end function one more time. Insert end function one more time. The moment you call the insert end function, so what happens here? Already a doubly linked list is available with this one node. Now when you call here, first what happens? It checks with the condition first is equal to null. So first is equal to null condition failed. So it comes to the else part. After coming to the else part, first it executes the create method. The moment it calls the create method, a new node is created. What happens? A new node is created with the same three fields: information, previous and next. Consider I am giving the data as 20 and the address is 6000 and this is a temporary variable. It has both null. Now let us see what happens. Last of next is equal to temporary. So what is last? 5000. 5000's next is null. We are replacing with the temporary. What is temporary value? 6000. That means we created a connection to here. Next, temporary of previous is equal to last. This is temporary. Temporary of previous, sorry, I made a mistake here. This is next, this is previous. So temporary of previous is last. What is the last value? 5000. So this null will be replaced with 5000. So we are establishing a connection to the first node. Done. This is our last is equal to temporary. Last is 5000. We are replacing it with 6000 where it creates a connection. Here this is called. Now a doubly linked list is created, where the insertion at the beginning and ending is done. It is both looks very similar because of using first and last variable. We don't need to traverse the whole list like in singly linked list. Insertion would be much simpler.